Hari Paratman Ahalam Aurma Asgad Yazdanhu Hari Paratman Ahala Aurma Asgad Yazdanhu. So we're going to do a reading. Excuse me, I hope this doesn't continue because this is not good. We're going to be doing a tarot reading on the collective, what to expect in 2025, hence the pregnant women, the pregnancy we are about to give birth to 2025, and what we can expect from the magic number of 9, which is 225 equals 9, a master number of co-creation with the universe. This year has really created massive, genuine, passionate, heated dialogues across the planet. We have seen what we have suffered in many ages, and now we are more collectively bonded by the shared experience of trauma. You could call it trauma bonding, because now, unlike the ancient days when there were no cell phones, clearly when the Romans were pillaging and stealing, and Vikings and the Huns and the Mongols, and the list goes on and on of conquering nations, conquering other nations. We are seeing the devastation of these acts from a bird's eye view. And also the more covert aspect, for example, medicine, the way medicine and health insurance is run in our country. So we're going to look at 2025 from a place of transcendence, surrender of what is, to create what we want. In other words, this is not a time to talk about revolution, because we've done. I keep saying that again and again. We have had many revolutions, many, and here we are talking about the same shit. So clearly, revolution in the physical sense doesn't work. It doesn't have a long-standing effect, because the powers that be still have their tight fist around our throats, no matter what the ages have been. So clearly, ascension is the key to escaping the machine. Ascension, not regression. And when you allow your emotions, which we all have emotions, trust me, I lose my shit as well. But when we lose our emotions to the bigger context of plans, we degrade ourselves to actually regress. And if we regress, we can't ascend, which is what they want. So the question I'm asking the universe is, what is to come next year? What is 2025 going to show us? Excuse me, I have a cold. All right, let's see. The devil. I laugh. I have to laugh. You can't make this shit up. The devil is the first card out. It's toxic energy. It's addiction, lies, narcissism, betrayals, evil, avarice. You get it. The hangman is sideways, which means to see things from a different perspective has been stopped into the tower, an absolute collapse. So we're about to see some shit get real in 2025. Collapsing of systems, which is important. A lot of truth is coming out to a very, very fast pace with TikTok. And the ban may quite remain. It may. I'm not doing a reading on TikTok's fate, but I am doing a reading on 2025 and our fate, most importantly, and the fate of our brothers and sisters across the planet. So the devil to the hangman, sideways to the tower. The tower is 16. 16 has a lot of energy. Let me go back actually, let me go back. The devil in tarot is 15. 15 in numerology is the magician. The magician has the ability to turn things around, to bring new realities onto the planet. In fact, that's his job. He manifests. He works with the high priestess, which is psychic energy and connection with the universe, to then bring them forth into the material world, the magician. When you have the devil, right, 1 plus 5, which I remember the number is 15, 1 plus 5 is 6. It also transmutes to the Lovers, which is a choice card. It means, what do you want to do? What do you choose? What do you choose to co-create? So the devil also represents, I'm going to be very honest, don't get triggered, you. Because you have to stop believing that what has been the status quo will always be the status quo. That means that you actually have to transcend your monkey mind and make a choice that what you have lived, what you have seen, and what you have read in history books that affirm the fact that only this system exists and only this system will also only exist, right? It's the only system that will ever exist, is not something to be accepted anymore. With the simple words, I do not consent. But here's what I'm co-creating through my manifestation, meditations, is visualization. And if you don't do that, then you loop into the monkey mind of the devil energy, into the hangman, not seeing things from a different perspective. And if we don't, there comes the crash. Page of Pentacles is crowning the reading, which talks about, and by the way, the bottom of the reading has the Lovers. Again, choice. Choice keeps coming up. Moving on. Page of Pentacles crowns the devil, the hangman, and the tower. It's messengers on the earthly plane. Moving right across the scene here, we're coming into the Nine of Swords, which is 9. Remember 9? God's perfect master number, which is 2025 is 9. Co-creation. But what I see here is anxiety, fear, nightmares. Let's keep going. Into the King of Cups. King of Cups is massive emotion. In fact, your emotions not being settled, like massive emotions and fear. 2 of Pentacles is juggling material concerns, and 7 of Wands means defensive energy, fighting for the cause, trying to defend something else. Why is the devil here, please? The Queen of Wands, it's a go-getter energy, fire energy. Aries, Leo, and Sag. Let's keep going. We are in Sag season right now. The Lovers, again, we keep getting the message of a choice, a choice, a choice. Make a choice. What do you want? Do you want to be a victim of the system? Again, we're talking about 2025. Do you want to be a victim of the system? Do you want to believe that the status quo will always be? Or do you want to create the new earth? Do you want to be in 5D? Do you want to create a new reality? The universe is a holographic universe. There's a lot of science about a lot of things, and there are a lot of books I've been reading late at night that you can check out on my YouTube channel that affirms what I'm saying. So the Lovers, Queen of Wands to the Lovers, into the Ten of Swords. If you make the wrong choice based on fear, because you don't think it's possible, because you prefer holding on to cynicism, or other people prefer to hold on to their cynical view of, well, it's always been like that and it's just how it is, and you're just talking about utopia and that doesn't exist, that's just fairyland stuff. Well, if that's the thought process that continues, then you reap what you sow, my friend. You reap what you sow. It's not a punishment. It just is. Frequency matches frequency. Like matches like. So if you don't want any part of this bullshit, then you need to come into a new consciousness, new habits, new visions that you hold on to over and above the clanging and clinging of the rabble who actually believe that this system is how it is. And it will always be this way because it's always been that way. Well, it hasn't. We have reports that Troy existed. As a matter of fact, it's a truth. We know that Plato also mentioned Atlantis. So clearly we had other civilizations that did not live like this at all. Let's continue. Page of Pentacles. What about the messengers? Hangman, seeing things from a different perspective. Ace of Wands, a new beginning. Into Eight of Swords. So the Page of Pentacles is giving you the messages of see things. Just see all the possibilities that you have into co-creating a brand new reality. Ace of Wands, based on passions, creativity. But here comes Eight of Swords, prison of your own mind. The monkey mind is probably your absolute worst enemy. And I know you've heard this before, that you are your own worst enemy. It's not you that's the problem. It's your monkey mind. You got to separate those two entities, because there's your soul, at which that's witnessing your monkey mind, swinging from thought to thought to thought to thought. And none of these thoughts are constructive. They're chaotic. And they're based out of panic and fear in the inability to wrap some kind of control to co-create something new. And this is why many of us meditate, we chant, we do pranayama. Many of us also do walking meditations and things of that nature to control our nervous system and the monkey mind, so you can get unobstructed downloads, uncorrupted downloads, pure downloads of directions, of things you may want to consider, because you're not going to be able to listen to your high guiding system, your light beings, if your monkey mind is chattering louder than your soul and your guides. It's impossible. No wonder, right? The hangman sideways. Why? Seven of Wands, defensive energy. High priestess, exactly. High priestess to the Two of Cups. This is the marriage between the soul and the ego. What kind of marriage? I mean, for example, the ego realizes, and I keep saying this and I can't say it enough, the ego now realizes its duty to the soul. It must bend the knee to the soul. The monkey mind is not the boss of you. The soul is the boss of you. And so that means that you have to have some kind of partnership where your soul is allowed to speak freely while the monkey mind is trained to listen and to obey, not the opposite. And in all of our incarnations, the problem that we've had as a people in these journeys through timelines has been the fact that the monkey mind was always the boss. Hence why we kept fucking up and looping back into these incarnations, into the three-dimensional, with amnesia being almost like a parasitical truth in our inability to pierce through these veils into higher consciousness. Does that make sense? The Tower, why is it here? Two of Swords, blindfolded, stagnant. The Sun, clarity and healing. The Hermit, going to, this is great, I love this, because it's this inability to want to see things as they are. And before you can heal things, you have to see it for what it is. You have to see the truth of your situation, into the Sun, clarity, healing, and then go into the Hermit energy, which, by the way, is 9. Here we go again with the theme of 9, which, again, is 2025, which is not 2 plus 2 is plus 5 is 9. And so what that means is that you're going into the cave. You're going into introspective energy, like a yogi. You're going within. You're meditating. You're not panicked, but you're lighting your pathway with the lantern of new consciousness, new understanding, and unconditional surrender to the wisdom of the universe, realizing that the universe has your back no matter what, as long as you surrender to your psychic energies, your ability to really see through the illusions of the current reality and infrastructures we live under. Nine of Swords, why is this happening? Ace of Pentacles, a new beginning. Page of Wands, passion and communication. Page of Swords, learning new things. New things, yeah, reading the books. I mean, I'm putting the list of books together I've been promising for almost a year now. And many of you know why it took me so long. I know you know why. But you're getting messages, my friend, for new beginnings. And instead of being the King of Cups that is completely bereft and emotionally overwrought, not knowing, emotionally like just drained, you are being asked to just sit still and trust the messages that are coming and discern and really create a program for yourself, a daily spiritual practice. I mean, really, that's it. Tell me about the King of Cups, please. The Empress, the cornucopia of abundance, Taurus, Libra energy. The King of Cups on the side note is Scorpio, Pisces, and Cancer energy. But the Empress comes in with this calmness, this no matter what, we will always land on our feet. And it doesn't need to chase anything, pursue anything. It just sits in repose, claiming the abundance that this incarnation, that your incarnation deserves. Eight of Pentacles keeps saying, learn new things. No shit, you better learn new ways of controlling your monkey mind. That's absolutely true. New ways of living your life. And you're fighting the Strength card, which is the monkey mind. By the way, Eight of Pentacles is learning new things, becoming an apprentice to a new life. Strength card is the fight between the ego and the soul. Again, it represents number 8, the looping of the mind. The looping, you could say, well, no, it's the eternal knot. And I say, no, it's the looping mind. And believe me, 8 is it's a very dense karmic number. Okay? So, there's too much on 8. I'm going to have to do a video on 8 because 8's got a lot of shit on it. But let's just say that stop fighting your monkey mind. In other words, it's not fighting that you need to do it, it's training it that you need to do. It's kind of like you train a puppy to sit, to wait, to roll over. You've got to do that with your monkey mind. All right, Two of Pentacles, juggling material concerns, judgment, something dead coming back to life, into justice, the balancing of the right and wrongs, and righting the wrongs, death, transformation. It's not pleasant, but it's not no way near like the Tower. There's a lot of karmic law coming into play here in the Two of Pentacles. Basically, karma is coming to, and it's outside your concerns. In other words, it's your outside environment, something you can control how you feel about it, but you can't control what's about to happen because you can't control other people's monkey minds. That's the problem. And that's okay. You're not here to really control anyone else but you. Your concern is you. And how do you align yourself with people who believe in the new earth, who believe in a new way? Okay, you got to align yourself with that. So karma's coming in, judgment to justice to death, Scorpio energy. It's pretty intense. The hammer's coming down. And the universe is not playing fucking games. It's that simple. There's been too much injustice, and there are too many tabs that have not been paid. And the universe is coming in to fucking collect. So that's what's happening. Seven of Wands, defensive energy. Queen of Cups, great. So on the bottom, we have the King of Cups. In the top, the last card, we have the Queen of Cups. And it is a heart-centered couple. It's a divine couple energy. It's a divine masculine and the divine feminine coming into their power. And it's based out of love. It's based out of the centric of revolving around the epicenter of love, which is the very energy that created everything that you see around you and things you'll never see. Magician to the High Priestess. Again, here we go again with the divine power. Magician creates in the material world. High Priestess is actually getting the downloads, the messages from the universe. And the partnership between the magician and the High Priestess is, I'm going to put it in simple, it's a power couple. Like nothing can go wrong. And that doesn't mean that you have to be with someone else to have this energy. It means that you have to actually create that energy within yourself. Okay, like the eternal flame of that kind of power. Tell me more, anything else? The Three of Swords. The Three of Swords represents a broken heart. Tell me more about the Three of Swords, please. What else is going on? The Three of Swords to the Three of Swords. You know what that means? It means that there's going to be, it's not an easy journey. There's going to be pain. There's going to be loss. You're going to see people dropping their bodies who cannot, and you've been seeing that in the last 3 years, by the way, a lot. And a lot of people just can't, it's not that they don't want to believe in other things. It's just that they are so brainwashed, some of them, or they've been so hurt by the last 5 years, seeing things in the last 5 years. And some people, their entire life, it's been really, they've had hard lives. And they can't do the last leg of their journey in this body. The ascension for them will not be in the physical body. And so you know, some of you who are here will have the heartbreak of watching people who you love cross over. And also the pain of people going, I can't, and I don't mean cross over by harming themselves. I mean just slipping out of their body because it's now time. The final healing will be on the other sides of the veils through the light beings who will catch them and help them find their footing in the spiritual realms, to be honest. This is what I'm seeing. Three of Swords to the Three of Swords. You can't make this shit up. This is a lot of pain. And so, unfortunately, pain is part of this journey in our human experiences. And I have to say that some people call this a prison planet, and some people call it a school. And it's interesting how, depending on how you see things, it becomes your reality. And that is not a joke. So what I will say, which is true, is that the only prison that you are shackled in is your mind. And the minute your mind is no longer controlled by the monkey mind, the minute you have like mastered the way your thoughts flow, right? And the minute you've kind of readdressed your cynicism and your 3D mentality and you start believing in magic, the minute that becomes your reality. Thought become matter. Thought become your reality. This is not a t-shirt. It's reality. It's how the universe works. Hence why they call it a reflection of your thoughts through the holographic universe. It reflects the emotions of how you feel. So this is why when people do affirmations and saying, I'm rich, I am never in car accidents, or whatever the hell they're saying, and the the most powerful emotion is fear, while you're saying these affirmations, well, fear, the emotion of fear, is going to be the dominant energy. And of course, you're going to manifest what you don't want, or there'll be a neutralization on what you manifest, because your emotions are fucked. So it's not what you say that's important right now. It's how you feel about what you visualize that's important. So if I tell you 5D is, the bridges of 5D are here, and you can cross the bridges of the ascension, and your monkey mind is telling you that's not possible, it's not logical, it's never happened before, and you're feeling dread that, we need a revolution and shit like that, then I hate to say it, but there is a split of realities. People talk about jumping timelines. Well, that's what it means. It means that your frequency is now a match to a different timeline. Does that make sense? I hope it does. If it doesn't, I don't know what to say. I don't know how else to explain it. But that's pretty much the essence of it. Any questions or comments? So ultimately, it's up to you, isn't it? You can't control other people's thoughts. You can control yours, though. And from the lives I've done with Andromeda Flame and other people, that we believe in what I've just discussed. We all believe it. There's no second guessing. We don't believe in certain things that limit the human experience and the soul's multidimensional reality of what it wants to experience and what it has experienced, and how now it's ready to let go of being on the conveyor belt of 3D incarnations. Many of us are not going to be a frequency match to 3D realities. It's not going to work anymore. Does that make sense? It's kind of like, I'm going to put it in really simple terms. It's very simple. You know how they have private clubs for the elite? If you don't make $1 million, you can't join that club, or millions of dollars. Well, that's kind of like the same thing on a frequency level. If your frequency is not a match to higher thoughts and higher purposes, you're not a match anymore to low-level, petty Annie, warmongering, famine-driven supposed leaders who want to continue that story. You're no longer a match to that. And so you ascend to the next level of your education as a soul, which is, 5D. It's like going from preschool to graduating into 5th grade, for example, right? And that is what's happening. And if your cynicism overrides in your logical mind, because I'm illogical and I'll see it if I believe it, I'll believe it when I see it, and all that bullshit, if that's the way you work your life and you're sitting on a yacht, enjoy your life. This is not your life. But if you're like most people, where their minds have driven them into poverty, into sadness, into the big C, into disease, into addiction, because they don't want to be in this reality because it's so painful. They have to get high because they can't do it any other way but to be high or drunk or whatever. If that's your world, my friend, then you better look at other ways and look at really wonderful, smart, spiritually grounded people who have written all these books to help you get off your knees and rise. It's that simple. Look at what other people are doing, what they've said. Louise Hay was an amazing influence to me personally when I was like 22. I remember I was a big fan of brainwashing myself, even at the age of 22 in the 1980s, okay? And I would listen to her cassette tape on my Walkman, just to tell you how far back it was, and listen to her cassettes on You Can Heal Your Life. She was molested. She was massively abused. She was raised in abject poverty. She scrapped. I believe the story was that she drove her beat up car from, I think it was somewhere in the middle of America or East, I forgot exactly, but I know that she ended up in Glendale, California. She ran out of gas or something like that happened, and she scrapped her way out of that hole through changing the way she thought of reality. And she ended up creating the Hay House, which is a publishing, empire of self-help. She is the self-help queen. She published guys like Wayne Dwyer and Deepak Chopra and other people like that, which their names, I could just rattle up names, but you kind of get the picture. And she did this single-handedly. You know what I'm saying? So she did a massive 180. because what she was doing was for always for the greater good. She didn't do it to get rich. She did it because it was the right thing to do, and she thought, I've changed my life. I could probably change other people's lives. Maybe this little booklet will help. And You Can Heal Your Life is a book. In fact, try to get the version when she was still alive, and get the versions that are from the 1990s. That would have been, she died around 2000, I think after 2010, I believe. And it broke my heart, because I really wanted to meet that woman, because she's a hell of a force of power. And she lived until her 80s. Beautiful woman, by the way. And so you can heal your life, you can heal your mind. You can heal your mind, you can heal your body. And if you can't heal your body, you don't say that shit doesn't work. It means you didn't fail. It means it's time to go home. That's just how it is. It's time to go home. The expiration date means you didn't fail. It means it's time to go home. That's just how it is. It's time to go home. The expiration date is upon me. Wow. I remember my father was just turned 62, who was diagnosed with lung cancer. I'll never forget this. And he said, and he'd had like 6 or 7 lives in one incarnation. He was like a fucking cat. Like his life was like Forrest Gump, but with a high IQ. And I remember he was struck with lung cancer, which represents, and this is I learned from Louise Hay, to give her credit, lungs. And he was struck with lung cancer, which represents, and this is I learned from Louise Hay, to give her credit, lungs. Anything with lungs, any issues with lungs, it's grief, massive grief. So he was struck with lung cancer, and he died. They told him, you got 3 months. He died in fucking 6 weeks. And one of the things he said is, I don't regret a thing. Why did he say that? Well, because he never fucking hesitated. And he was probably one of the most incredible manifestors I've ever witnessed in my entire... Hesitated. And he was probably one of the most incredible manifestors I've ever witnessed in my entire fucking life. And that was extraordinary. That was extraordinary to watch. That was extraordinary to witness. And it taught me things. But, it taught me a lot of things, which I didn't realize until... In fact, I'm about his age now when he passed, to be honest. So the point I'm trying to say here is that the last thing you want to do, and this is something they talk about. I have a friend who's a journalist who, for a while, went to hospice care in elderly homes where people are about to die. And she said one of the things she keeps hearing is all the regrets. And I'm proud to say that my father sat there across from us after the diagnosis saying, I don't regret a thing. This was a hell of a ride. I'm ready to go home. I mean, that's what you want to do. By the time you're done, you want to say, I regret some things, but I forgive myself. I let go of these regrets. I forgive them also. I forgive myself. What a fucking ride. This was amazing. And you die in gratitude in the arms of the universe going, thank you. This was an incredible experience. You want to do that. You want to get to that point. And it will not happen if you allow cynicism. I hate that word. I hate that attitude. I actually don't. I try to be patient with people who are cynical, but I really are. I'm going to tell you a story. And for all I know, it could be wrong. Okay? But I'm going to tell you this story. I had a client who was smelled good, dressed good, millionaire. Had the latest cars, latest phones, latest watches, all of that. And he kept going to these places to pick up chicks, right? But wanted to get married, wanted to have children. And one of the things that happens when you just have sex for sex sake is that eventually you fill up your root chakra with the corruption and the fear and with the sadness that you've connected with other people's root chakras. Depression, sadness, self-loathing, all of that becomes your reality because your root chakra is now connected to their root chakra. It's a real thing. It's spiritual STD. And he wanted to find a beloved. So about 3 years ago, I kept saying, you've got a beloved. I kept seeing her. She was half Hindu, half British. I kept seeing that. I kept saying, she's in England. And finally, one day, there was an opportunity for him to go to London. Around this time of year, by the way. And he decided not to go for this excuse, that excuse, and the other excuse. And I kept feeling her energy in my readings. I kept seeing her. I kept seeing this was a high-level soulmate. And he did not go. Instead, he went to little junkets in Texas and little things. He basically pissing the money away instead of just putting all the money in one thing and just saying, today, for this year, my trip is to England. Fuck it, I'm going. And to see. But he never did it. Free will is a hell of a thing. And suddenly, after a while, she disappeared. Because we have divine appointments in life. And when we are driven to something, we must go. So let's say you're driven to Glastonbury. You want to go visit Peru. Whatever the fuck it is, you probably have some divine appointments there, especially if it keeps hitting you. You start seeing posters and ads on the particular place that keeps hitting you. You're like, what the fuck? Now I'm seeing ads on TikTok or Facebook on Portugal or Peru. Or what the hell's going on? It means that you have a divine appointment with the land, a divine appointment with other souls. And you can take it or leave it. You again, free will means you don't have to say yes to it. You can actually reject it. However, sometimes you reject gold and opportunities. So with him, he ended up meeting someone else. And that someone else was not going to be a match. Because, again, this was somebody of a very, very, very low frequency with a very, very sad beginning that made them impossible to be trustworthy. That was the truth. Was this a high-level soulmate? One of, yeah. But what I noticed is that there are some appointments that you will meet. So no matter what. In other words, the portals will open and you'll have until from 2005 to 2010 to meet. You don't do it. You don't go to this party, or you don't go to, and you feel like you should, but then you're just lazy. That's why I love the book called Surrender Experiment with Michael Singer. Love that book. Because that's the whole point. Whenever his monkey mind says no, he says, fuck it, let me do it. Every single time he says, you know what? My mind says no, that means I must do it. I swear to God. The book's fucking amazing. You should read it. And so when there is a divine appointment, the portals may open again in, say, I'm going to make it up, 2024, and it will close in 2027. And you'll have this desire to go to Peru. And it'll keep coming up again and again. Now, that person you were supposed to meet in those previous years is probably also being drugged to Peru. And here you go. And here you meet him. You're introduced by a shaman or somebody else, a mutual friend, or you meet them on a plane. You just sit next to each other, seat A, 1A, and 1B, whatever, you know. And here it is. But at some point, there's an expiration date to even those meetings. You know what I'm saying? Obviously. And I find that interesting. We always have these massive crossroads. And these massive crossroads are blocked by our own monkey minds, our own fears. Am I being ridiculous? Is this going to pan out? Am I going to get what I'm looking for? Oh, this is stupid. I don't have the money for this. I shouldn't even be on this plane. What the fuck am I doing? Let me get back. Let me grab a cab back to the hotel or back to the house. And I'm telling you this because when I was about to meet my twin after almost 2 decades, almost 3, of not being together, I remember at 6:30 a.m. sitting at the airport going, what the fuck am I doing here? I need to, no. And I could feel myself going through a panic, not a panic attack, just a panic. It was a monkey mind. And so I started meditating. And I was given an image of a lioness who had been harmed, right? And she had been rehabilitated, right? And she was in a cage, and they were releasing her to the savannas. And she would not get out of the fucking cage. She would not. Now, I've seen this replicated in documentaries and videos of wildlife being released back into the wild, and they will not leave their cage. And so they yelled and screamed, and finally she left looking back, and then she ran back into the brush. And I thought to myself, get on that fucking plane. And I did, and it changed my life for the best. For the fact, I probably wouldn't be who I am today if I had never gotten on that plane. And that's what I mean by being very conscious of the difference between the monkey mind and something else whispering that this is not the right time. There's a difference between a fated meeting and an impulsive, crazy move that's based on just wanting to distract yourself from something else. And the ability to determine the difference is, I'm going to say, years of meditation, of connecting with your body, of running, of walking, of again, learning how to breathe and really like drive yourself deeper into the realms of your unconscious. Breathe and really like drive yourself deeper into the realms of your unconscious and conscious mind, and being able to understand the difference between impulsivity, self-distraction, bullshit like that, and true urges and desires that are implanted in your soul that would be triggered at the right timeline for the right moments in your life, for the right growth. And it's something that you have to master, and you can't do it if you're doing the same shit every day. So one of the things that I'm going to say to you is that when you look at 2025, yesterday I did a quick live on get your ass together, write down what you want to do. If you missed the full moon yesterday and writing your intention, my son did it, I did it. He burned his, I kept mine. You check out the videos. They're very short. One is you'll see divine lovers. It looks like the earth, Pachamama, making love to the wind, the ocean, whatever. And you can see that 4 minutes. And then you can also look at the full moon, the whole breakdown of what to do. And if you've missed that, then make sure that you align yourself with the New Year's as it crosses over, and maybe do it like 48 hours before. Start meditating on what you want to experience for yourself personally and for the collective and this planet. Make sure that you include not just you, but the planet and where you want it to go. Because right now we are at a massive crossroad, and we have been trained to be that like a lioness in the cage. We have been trained to stay in that cage, even though the door of freedom is open and we have a whole world to explore. And yet many of us, being trained, being brainwashed, are going to sit back and basically say no to the very things we want. One of them being the freedom to roam, the freedom to explore, the freedom to put what you want in your body. My body, my choice. If I want to do this, it's my fucking body. Who are you to tell me I can't have pot or psilocybin or whatever? Who the hell are you? It's my body. And so look at the world and tell it that you are here now as its caretaker, its gardener, its beloved, its protector, and that you are raising the frequency in the present tense, so coming from a place of gratitude of the now. And that should bring you to the kinds of evolutions. Now, could it happen immediately in 2025? No, because maybe in your case, maybe yes. But for many, it could take 2 years. It could take 3. Why? Because the monkey mind and the distraction of the current infrastructure is so fierce. I mean, how do I put this? You'll be in a high state of vibrational, euphoric bliss, and then here comes a bill, or here comes somebody who's been in a car accident, or here comes what surrounds you that you can't really control. You can't control other people's behaviors and their self-sabotaging moves. Like, for example, I had a client whose a person got pulled over for a DUI, okay? That is massive bad news for anyone to get. And so even though she was in her power, right, in her center, I said to her, whatever you do, keep going back to micro meditations, pranayama. Don't let yourself drown in this person's self-destructive move, which was, there are Ubers, there are cabs, there are fucking friends. I said, would you have picked him up at 3:00? And she goes, of course I would have. Bingo, there you go. So when people do shit like that around you that you love, do not drown in their own quicksand. Try to give them the compassion and generous of heart to, bring about a new way, but do not fall into the mud with them at all. Just don't do it. Try to keep yourself together, okay? Because if you start collapsing in grief and a sense of, well, that shit doesn't work. Well, it's working for you, not them, because they're not doing what we've just discussed for the last 30 minutes. They're doing what everyone else is doing. which is wanting distractions, making stupid moves that at some point is going to land them in jail or something worse. Okay? So try to keep it together. Try to breathe. This is why pranayama is so important. You might want to go into, I'm being told, Kundalini yoga, because that would actually get your nervous system, like your whole body would actually relax after doing a session of Kundalini yoga. You may want to look into things that actually can bring you back down into a place of relaxation. So that's the issue many of us are dealing with. Many of us are doing the work. We're showing up, we're meditating, we're doing what we need to do, we're reading the right books, or we've got the right music, we're not watching shit on TV. In fact, many of us don't even have a TV anymore. And boom, there comes the bomb from somebody else who you love or care about, and you're like, what the fuck? Here we go again. And it's almost a training. You're going through a training, a test. Pass the test for yourself, okay? That's going to be very important as we move forward. I'm doing Pilates on Saturday now. That's great. That's great to hear. Any other questions or comments? All right, so I'm going to go ahead and do, I really love the Blue Angel Oracle deck by Tony Carmine Salerno. I'm going to pull some angel messages, and it's Angel Michael that we're reading about. Okay, the messages are from Archangel Michael. And let's look at that, and let me see. Well, you're not going to believe this. Remember, the reading started out with 15, which was the devil. Okay, well, the card you just received is 15, manifestation. You can't make this up if you tried. So let me go ahead and read the card, the message to you. 15, manifestation, wealth. This card signifies a deep desire for wealth and abundance on all levels, including spiritual and material wealth. Doors previously closed now open, as do fresh opportunities. You are building solid foundation for future creation and expansion in all areas of your life. Stay focused on your goals. Be mindful of all around you. And more importantly, be mindful of the guidance that arises from within. Let your inner wisdom and light be your guide. You are what your deep driving desire is. As you desire is, so is your will. As your will is, so is your deed. As your deed is, so is your destiny. Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. Amazing. I'm going to read card 16 as well, believe it or not, because today's the 16th. I'm going to read this to you. Okay. Sacred Earth, health and vitality. You can find healing and inspiration by connecting with the earth. Nature's healing energy will bring you peace and balance to your body, mind, and emotions. You can connect with nature's timeless wisdom anytime, anywhere, even if you are indoors. Simply close your eyes and imagine yourself surrounded by nature's beauty, perhaps on a sandy beach, in a lush green rainforest, or within the sacred heart of Uluhu. Breathe nature's healing light. Imagine yourself as a waterfall and feel yourself flow like water. Imagine you are a majestic old tree and feel your branches sway in the breeze. Feel yourself nourished by the fertile earth beneath you. You are one with the sacred planet and forever loved by nature. Now I see the secret of making the best person. It is to grow in the open air and to eat and sleep with the earth. Walt Whitman. So you have to remember, okay, I really was one of these people, so I'm not going to judge anyone too harshly on this, but I will redirect you. I used to say, I don't want to live here anymore. I don't like living on planet Earth. I don't want to come back, okay? And what I never realized, and I remember doing a meditation with Pachamama a while back, Pachamama being Bhumi, Gaia, planet Earth. And I remember apologizing to her and sobbing, my forehead to her beautiful body. And I said, I never saw you. You have given me, you have been my home in these many, many incarnations. And I never saw you. I pillaged your children. I took what I wanted. I scarred your body. And I did everything from a place of ignorance. And now I see you. And now I love you. And now I understand that you have been my mother, my beloved, my grandmother, my sister, all of these incarnations, and you have always loved me, and you have waited for me to see you all these incarnations, and now I see you, and I will right the wrongs. This planet has never been the problem. And this is what I say in every damn life. I always go back to the 1%. It's the 1% that's been a problem. There was a time when you and I would have incarnations 2,000, 3,000 years ago, 5,000 years ago, where we had land, where we would hunt, where we would do what we needed to do, and we were left alone to be with our families, to be with our beloved, to be with our tribe. And life was gorgeous. And yes, people suddenly would die, and from disease, from fever, from childbirth, from whatever. But also, we lived as fiercely, with as much passion and clarity and connection with the stars and the skies and the earth. And we've lost all of that because, again, we are without community. And community is probably the most important thing that we as a people right now need to create. And community means of like mind, like really believing in similar things. I would not be good in a community where everyone's into hunting and they want to thump the Bible at me. That would be not my right community, but it would be the right community for someone else. So it's not a judgment about communities. It has nothing to do with that. It has something to do with go and align yourself with what aligns with your heart. My community would be more into vegetarianism and raising chickens to eat ticks and not to eat chickens. My community would be, we would be talking in these conversations. We'd be having circles, reading out loud from these incredible books of incredible knowledge. We would be discussing the nature of reality and how we can do better in raising the collective consciousness of the collective. And we would still tell stories and laugh and cook together and have arguments and then somehow clear the arguments and come to an understanding, a deeper understanding. We would cry with gratitude and hug and celebrate the solstices and things of that nature. So it's like you have to kind of look at yourself and go, what would be in alignment with me? And one of the things I love about my friend who died a few years back, D Sunshine, he was a Gemini, I'm a Taurus, and we were like literally weeks apart. And we met on the internet, and we never physically met, but we were friends for over 30 years. And he died in a community in Scotland. And he was surrounded by his community, his tribes member, and they loved him. And he loved them. And he died in the arms of being held. Not in a hospital where no one would give a shit and he would die alone, but surrounded by people who loved him and who held sacred space. And so these kinds of things don't create themselves. You have to go out and you may be the leader asked to create such a space. I know that there's this guy who's British, who's been going around in Northern California in particular, sharing communities. You know, there's a couple communities he showed, one being a community, I think, of 45 people. And the number just can't, it could be 40, okay? I just realized what I said. 45 meaning 9. But he shared that these people had bought land together, and each of their incomes individually was $9,000 and some $545.21, whatever, I'm making it up. But $9,000 was the number. So all of them are on the mercy of Social Security, right? And they pooled their money, and they bought land, and they built the community that they now have. And they have, like, I think 2 kitchens, I think, and they have 13 cars, which they share, and they have, 6, 7 washing machines, or something like that, right? And he showed the land they had bought up in Northern California. It's fucking beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. They keep buying more land. It's a communal. If you can be bought out if you want to leave. But most people, actually, I don't think anyone has left. Because you see, if they were on their own at $9,000 a year from Social Security, you and I both know they'd be living in a tent. They'd be homeless. Okay? And they would eat crap food. They grow their own food. They grow their own food. It's organic. It's non-GMO seeds. It's the whole thing is just on a high level of frequency, right? And for all you know, they could be eating meat and vegetables and this and that and the other, and that's not my business. But they are a community of heart-centered, generous, supportive people. And it sounds to me like most of them are probably over 45. So we have blueprints of that all over the world, from Scotland to England, the other parts of England. I think of Scotland as a separate country. Obviously, it's not. Ireland, France, there's communities there. There's communities everywhere. And so if it's not near you and you love where you live, then I guess you're being asked to create your own community. And it's not easy, because you have to understand that you're going to deal with the fears and cynicism and limited minds of people. So you may want to find out where those communities are and go, fly in and see. I know Sasha Stone, who's in Bali. He's back in Bali, I believe. You can look him up on, you can look up the Lazarus, right? Initiative. Look it up on YouTube. He was banned out of YouTube back when COVID hit, because he was rabid, attacking the system for what it was doing. But anyway, so his channel is back, thank God. Lost a lot of content that was unbelievably important. But Sasha Stone has this community in Bali, and you can actually fly into Bali and request to visit. And he is actually helping other leaders, if you will, or wise ones. I'm going to call them wise ones, not leaders. The word leaders is really, it sticks in my throat. So I'm going to call other wise people who are generous of heart, who are flying in to see, how do I build this? What does it look like? What can I do? Any tips? Any best methods that I can incorporate? There are people who are going in and learning how to create earth ships. They're called earth ships. At the time, I think it was about $10,000 to $11,000 to learn how to build one. And they used usually recycled products like tires and beer bottles and, things of that nature. And it's almost like an underground house that has that uses solar powered energy. You can grow food. Actually, there's all kinds of clever ways of bringing light into this incredible abode. They're actually gorgeous houses, and from the sky it looks like a patch of grass. You can't really see it from the sky. You have to walk up to it. It's really fascinating. You may want to look up Earthship. So there's so much out there, so many possibilities, and it's a matter of what you want to experience in your years to come. What is it that you want to experience? And I think that those kinds of communities are being told to tell you, will jump timelines. They will. Because some of these communities will have such a high frequency, they're no longer a match to 3D. They'll still be on planet Earth, as you all know, but they'll be in 5D. And so you won't be able to, if a person's in 3D consciousness, they will not be able to see them. If that makes sense. For many, it may not make sense. But then, you might want to look up beautiful people who talk about reality. 1000% agree this beautiful planet is not the problem. Thank you. Beautiful planet is not the problem. Thank you, Jennifer. Love this. So when you see this pregnant woman holding her belly, expecting a new life, the new life is yours. And in what planet? What reality do you want to co-create with yourself, the universe, attracting your soul tribe member? Okay? What exactly do you want to bring forth? And go as crazy. I fucking put on some tinfoil hat. Honestly, I feel like at this point now, I'd like to make tinfoil hats to herald 2025 because that is more in line with my. I want my little foil hat to pick up energies from the etheric. I want to laugh. I want to laugh at the absurdity of what we have been told was real as opposed to what was really real. I want to laugh at the fact that we had invisible fences. Have you ever seen how you'll see like horses or cows and it's an invisible fence? They've been trained because they keep getting electrical shocked, and it's just a fine little cord, and they don't even fathom crossing it. They don't even think about it. They're, every blue moon you'll see a cow or a bull that goes, fuck it, I don't care. I'm going to take some of the pain for a second. I'm going to barrel through this fucking little fence. And then they're free, right? I think that's us. We need to be like those bulls and cows going, I don't give a shit. It's going to hurt a little bit, but after that, I'm free. And I think that's where we're at. Because there are a lot who are standing behind this invisible fence that's all in their mind. And they're not willing to go through a little bit of pain and discomfort to cross over to something else that is, the unknown. But the unknown of what? Is it going to be horrible? No, it can't be horrible, because your heart is at a beautiful place, and you have to trust what you want and what you feel in your heart. And if your heart is pure and good and generous, then why would the universe bring you into the abode of hell, brimstone and fires? Why do people think that? It's the weirdest thing to me. It's like, why would you think that if you're coming from the right consciousness, you're going to attract shit in your life? It doesn't even make sense. It really doesn't make sense to me. But that is how cynical minds think. And to be honest with you, a cynical mind is a fear-filled mind. It's not an intelligent mind. It's not a creative mind. It's a fear-filled mind. Hence why it's cynical. And it's cynical, and it thinks it's clever. It thinks that being cynical means I'm logical, and I'm just, I know what reality is. It's like, no, dude, you don't. You know what limitations of the minds are, and you're embracing it like this is something you should fucking crow about. It's not a flex. It shows massive fear to be cynical. And to be free from these kinds of disgusting low vibrational thought means, you know that life is going to be exciting. There's going to be challenges, and there's going to be moments of such incredible nectar that you will savor those moments in your last years on this planet and beyond. So, tinfoil cowboy hat, exactly. Exactly. Anyway, so it's funny, if I had a party right now, like I think next year when I'm wherever the hell I'll be, I'm hoping to throw a little party. I just thought of this, a little party where, it's a New Year's Eve party, and instead of giving those little funny hats with a little fucking, confetti all over it, I think I'm going to actually make tinfoil hats and pass them out to people and say, okay, let's do it with little wires sticking out like Martians. I think it'd be funny to do that. And creative, you know what I mean? Hell, it might even be a game where at the party, like at around 9 or 10 o'clock at night, we all get tinfoil and we create our own tinfoil hats to prepare for the New Year's. I think it would be fun. Anyway, that would be hilarious, right? Here, you hand everyone as they come to the door, here's your foil. And we're all going to sit at the table, and we're going to have champagne, and we're going to make our tinfoil hats, and we're going to celebrate New Year's. I think that's amazing. That would be awesome. So I'm going to pull out a card from the Kali deck. And the reason why I'm being attracted to that deck is because there is some ass to kick. No joke, okay? And so let me look at that real quick, and then we'll call it a day. And hopefully you'll enjoy the rest of your day. And if I'm, doing nothing, I might come in tonight and do another reading. I think right now we need a lot of readings, a lot of support. We need to know that we are not alone, and I can assure you, you're not alone. Okay, middle. 8. 2024 was a vibration of 8. And this is called Kali Kapali. Kali Kapali. So sometimes to prepare for the future, we have to remember what we just went through. And so we're looking at the past. Let me read this to you. Bear with me. Okay, number 8, Kali Kapali. She who wears the mala of skulls around her neck shall never abandon you. Before I continue, let me preface. When you see Kali with the skulls, she has like demons that she's slain, right? And you'll see her represented with skulls around her neck, like a mala, right? And those skulls, in my opinion, this is not what is shared, but it's my hit for that. Those skulls are the demonic little entities in her head, meaning she's slain the various faces of the monkey mind, the false ego. And she wears them like a totem of her success to have controlled her monkey mind, the very faces of, the monkey mind. So that's how I see it. She who wears the mala of skulls around her neck shall never abandon you. She shall be with you always, lifetime after lifetime, in unending tenderness and devotion, conquering that which would alienate you from your truth and creative power. Trust in the effectiveness of your prayers and request for her assistance. Have confidence in divine intervention, no matter how dire things may seem. You shall transform a negative experience into a positive one that honors your soul. Kapali is the wearer of skulls. Kappa Lama Mala. Okay, the Kappa Mala, the Kappa La Mala or skull mala is a version of the prayer of mala beads used to call in and strengthen divine presence by using sacred sounds, repeating mantras or prayers while counting the beads. You are encouraged to speak to her from your heart about whatever is troubling you. She will do whatever it takes to release you from your suffering. Now, as you know, I hope you know this, they do sell malas, usually carved out of yak bones, out of Nepal, and you can buy them on Etsy. They have a lot of... I remember they used to have quartz crystal skull malas, which is, I haven't found them anymore, which is a bummer. But it's important to always have a totem, a quartz crystal of a skull to remind you of the, temporal reality of your current incarnation. In other words, you are not immortal. You are immortal, but not this avatar, this body that you reside in. All right. The form of Kali arises in a reading when you need to know a truth. She will make sure you find it, even if you would rather continue in peaceful ignorance for a little while longer. This truth, however disruptive it may be, is not a punishment. I'm going to repeat this because you guys need to really tuck in to this. She will make sure you find it even if you rather continue in peaceful ignorance for a little while longer. This truth, however disruptive it may be, is not a punishment. It is protection. You may not be able to see that at the time, but you will be grateful for the changes that come from her revelations later on. Skulls mark the passing of time. Trust that time can be your ally to heal and emerge anew. You will need faith, but in due course, you will see how the universe has been supporting you in all ways when you feel restored and supported again. Often an encounter with Kapali entails direct confrontations with the things we fear the most, like a physical therapist placing a pressure on a point of tension to get it to release. Kali Ma's presence can give you rise to acute pain. She is not causing the pain. She is the method by which it is released. It takes a pure and courageous heart to approach Kali, for she is unpredictable and does not respond well to those who try to control her. She always defies the grasp of ego. You cannot know how or when she will enact her divine will. You may feel led right into the emotional, psychological, or physical issues that have thus far evading healing. She gives no credit or honoring to our fears because she knows our real capacity to overcome them and awaken. Her sacred medicine breaks down our resistance and our confusion and shows us we're made of more potent stuff. Encountering her is rarely a comfortable experience. Interesting. So this is when fear becomes your ally, not your jailer. Yet, the pathway forward ultimately becomes more gracious because of her intervention. When Kapali manifests her presence, the powerful symbolic teachings of the skull are at play. Skulls represent an ending and also a triumph of a more powerful force. In this case, divine will, an ending and also a triumph of a more powerful force. In this case, divine will over a lesser force. In this instant, typically human ego or plans. Human ego or plans. The skull indicates a need to acknowledge that while we are a powerful divine spirit with free will and much creativity, we also need to operate within the higher power of far greater wisdom. Such a spiritual hierarchy is not oppression in any way. It is a sacred order that keeps us safe and helps us to grow. At a soul level, we have agreed to walk a particular spiritual journey in this lifetime. Our empowerment comes not through resisting, but engaging with our life path, no matter how mysterious, devastating, or deeply challenging our experience may be. Kali Kapali signifies that somehow, even out of the darkest interior struggles, suffering will give way to spiritual freedom and deep peace. Commit yourself to participating and co-creating your life path with all the passion of your mind, body, and soul while submitting to the greater workings of your destiny. Submitting to the greater workings of your destiny with all the trust your heart can muster. The skull, especially without a jawbone, has been a symbol of those who operate outside traditional moral conventions in Eastern and Western cultures. Did you hear that? Outside. Not inside. You don't belong to your oppressor. You stay outside and energetically shift realities. From the realities that you were brainwashed into believing is real, into the realities that you could create with the universe, with your soul's destiny, right? So I'm going to repeat the line because it's a very important line. The skull, especially without a jawbone, has been a symbol of those who operate outside traditional moral conventions in Eastern and Western cultures. Kali Ma is the queen of such unconventional spirits. The appearance of Kapali can be a sacred message that your soul path shall not be limited by societal conditioning of any kind. Conformity will not support your journey. No, it will not, especially at this time. She is here with you, reminding you that you have the strength to remain true to yourself, even if that means standing apart from others. Tune into the spiritual power within. It is beyond what society understands and can offer. It will nourish, protect, inspire, and guide you through any troubles. If your path is diverging from your original plans or your journey is out of sync with those around you, trust in what is happening and know that you are within her care. You need to, all of you, if you have not watched David Icke's Renegade, his it's a documentary, Renegade. I highly recommend you read it so you can understand what it takes to say shit and live a life that people laugh at until everyone goes, oh shit, he was right. And then I also want you to see how he was initiated by other beings. And you can believe him or disbelieve him, and you can keep using your logical mind instead of tapping into your spirit's high wisdom and ancient wisdom. It's really your choice. You have free will. Do whatever the fuck you want. It's high wisdom and ancient wisdom. It's really your choice. You have free will. Do whatever the fuck you want. What I've noticed is that people who get into too close to the sun, not for some of us, we want to actually merge with the sun, which means absolute light and truth. But for some who get really freaked out when they get too close to the sun, become the Doreen Virtues and Juliette Aubier, which you probably don't know who I'm talking about, but I know you know Doreen Virtues and Juliette Aubier, which you probably don't know who I'm talking about, but I know you know who Doreen Virtue is. And they all ran back. They all ran, oh my God, in fear. Right? Instead of merging and demanding the absolute truth of what we are, how we were made, what we are, our purpose, and why we've been looped. Truth of what we are, how we were made, what we are, our purpose, and why we've been looping into this planet with the devastating realities of amnesia, what I call spiritual Alzheimer's, and how many of us are breaking away, and many, I'm still seeing that. Many are going, oh my God, I used to do witchcraft and I used to do this and that or whatever, right? Or calling tarot witchcraft, or just the stupidest shit I've ever heard. Witchcraft and I used to do this and that or whatever, right? Or calling tarot witchcraft, or just the stupidest shit I've ever heard. And running back to the old brainwashing and the old religion that supports that old brainwashing. instead of tapping into ancient wisdom, instead of going back beyond the Vedic stories and wisdoms, okay? And the Vedas outranks anything written after that. So this is where you want to start. You want to go there. Start reading the Bhagavad Gita, the Bhagavatam, and start reading. I think there's like over 1,000 books in the Vedic tradition. It explores everything. It invented Tantra. It taught us chakras. It taught us pranayama, the breathing exercises, yogi, fasting. And where does that come from? Probably it comes from the Atlanteans. And where did that come from? Well, that came from the Lemurians. And where did that come? Well, that came from star seeds. Hello. This is why this whole agenda that we're seeing played out with and I'm going to bring him up again, Wes Huff and Billy Carson, is really proceed with caution, my friend. Don't get fucking into that drama. Because many of you in the spiritual community are listening to what's going on and scratching your head going, well, if that's a lie, then everything else is a lie. And that's not how it works. There's tons of lies in the Bible. Tons. And we know it. I mean, we know it. And there's tons of truths. But one does not discount the other. It's you have to understand the filtering system of the 3D brain is not to be ignored. It is a massive problem. And egos are a massive problem. What I've found in temples, okay, because I've gone to temples all over this country, and not every temple's created the same. Some temples are fraught with egos. Some temples are not. Some churches are fraught with egos. Some churches are not. They're really good, honest to good people who just want the truth, and they just want to align themselves with something that makes them feel comfortable or whatever. But honestly, I can see why many of us have walked away from the whole fucking thing. But I will say that if you start reading some of the Vedic traditions and remember, Deepak Chopra talks about a lot of that. And there's some wonderful translations that you can enjoy on Audible that are there. And there are stories, and those stories are definitely parables. But they have beautiful wisdoms. Just like when you read the Odyssey, it's a parable of a journey, of a man's journey and of a woman waiting for him. Ultimately, in between that is all these adventures, I get it, but ultimately it's by the undying loyalty and love of a woman waiting for her man to come back. Ultimately, in my opinion. That doesn't mean I'm correct, it means that's my opinion. And when I think about poetry and the beautiful expression of the human voice through poetry, and the evocative language that poetry gives us in whatever language we speak in this particular incarnation, I highly recommend you read poetry. One of my favorites, my favorite prose writer is Khalil Gibran. He's one of my second favorite is Arthur Rimbaud. And I really don't have that many more, honestly. I'm just going to be honest. There's not that many more. Every once in a while I come across a piece of poetry that sings my heart awake, but for the most part, those two authors were in my heart and soul. You know, they're telling me to say also Emily Dickinson. The female writers that broke my heart open was the Bronte sisters. Broke my heart wide open. In a way that Jane Austen did not. Love Jane Austen, don't get me wrong, but for me, the Bronte sisters, I'm like, how the fuck did you guys come up with all of that being so sequestered from the world? Again, that shows reincarnation and the soul's wisdom, innate wisdom. No matter where it lands, it will always retain its wisdom if it trusts what it's expressing, whether it's on paper, right, through song, or through oral storytelling. So there's, right now, there aren't any fictional writers that I don't read fiction anymore, to be honest, at all. Nothing do I read is fictional. It's all self-help. It's all spiritual knowledge. And I'm discerning. I'm going, this is good. This is shit. That doesn't mean it's shit. It's shit for me. That doesn't mean it's shit for you. It means I don't relate to it, or I feel like something's off. And right now, the female writers were being pushed on the spiritual journey. I'm not feeling, except for Marguerite Rigliosini and her books on the cult of the Greek goddesses. and immaculate conception and things of that nature, because she is a PhD and she is a scholar of ancient, how do I put it, ancient feminist work and stories that have been thrown to the sidelines, that like we didn't matter. So what we're seeing played out right now is the masculines doing a DICK swinging contest right now on YouTube all over the place. And then we have women who are the contemporary writers I'm thinking of. I don't really want to say their name because I'm not here to fucking talk shit about these women at all. But I've mentioned it once before with Andromeda Flame yesterday. I'm not going to do it again because I'm not here to bash women or men, really. But we are seeing something played out, and our ability to discern ancient wisdom should not be based on these people and their egoic fights. We do have wonderful writers that we can actually lean into and know that these are safe, they're safe bets. I think there's a book that Lee Harris just came out with, but I can't find it to save my fucking life, to be honest. I can't. It's the weirdest thing. The latest book for Lee, I can't find it. And I think it was written with Regina Meredith, but I can't find it. I'll look for it again. If I do, then I'll give you the title. The people that I love, I keep mentioning them again and again and again. And again, I'll put the list together, but I really want you to rediscover Louise Hay. I think it would help a lot of you out. The book is You Can Heal Your Life. Find out she was such a sweet spirit. She was a strong column of power, but she was sweet in spite of what happened to her as a child. And I'm talking about it was massive abuse. So in spite of what happened to her as a child, and I'm talking about it was massive abuse. So I think that should wrap it up. Any questions or comments at all? I want to thank you again. Yeah, Bronte, absolutely. I love Bronte. The Brontes had my heart. I mean, I never thought every Bronte piece of work, I was a mess. I was fucking sobbing. Sobbing. It didn't matter what. It didn't matter which sister wrote. And there's a movie. It's a 2-part series. And I'm trying to remember where, but I think it's called The Brontes. You may want to watch it. It's extraordinary. And it explores their brother who was an alcoholic. He was definitely an alcoholic. And it explores their very simple life. And, women in those days had to pose as men to be published, to be taken seriously, number one. I'm sure you know that. And that was what we did. Colette, the famous writer Colette, her husband took credit for all her work until finally she broke free from his narcissistic, harmful, subjugation that he had over her. And finally she was able to publish her work under her own name. But for years, he took credit for her work. And George Sands was an actual marquise. She posed and dressed as a man. She would have salons in Paris in the mid to late 1800s, and she was a force of nature. Her lover was Frédéric Chopin. But these women constantly had to fucking hide in the shadows with initials and R.A. blah blah blah, instead of saying Anne Baudelaire, like their real name. It's sad. And finally, the kind of women that are being published right now who are in the spiritual community, let me put it that way. The shaman I work with should have a book out, but she doesn't. The person who doesn't has books out, I just don't understand. It's almost like yes is no and no is yes. It's like everything's flipped over. But that's what we're dealing with. So keep looking for content creators that speak to you, that speak the truth, that come from a place of, as much humility as possible, and not to mention as much wisdom as possible. And you're going to fuck up. You're going to make a mistake as a content creator, as a spiritual advisor, as a coach, whatever. You're going to at some point fuck up. And the main thing that I think we should learn from what we're watching and roll out is repair it, but also always advocate for yourself. You know what I mean? Like never let yourself be a sitting duck. Like don't let yourself be manipulated in any situation ever. And if you make a mistake, just repair it. Repair it with humility. People understand. None of us are fucking faultless. We all have faults. I have faults. You have faults. We have shadows. I have shadows. It's normal. It's a human experience. But if you hold on to your ego as opposed to just saying, hey, I fucked up, move on, that's a problem. And some of the books that I'm looking at by women, besides Marguerite, whose work I absolutely admire, and Margaret Sonbird, Starbird, excuse me, not so Starbird with the Mary of Magdalena. Go back to the ancient women. Also read, and this is a fiction, but I'm not buying it's a complete fiction. I feel like it's a download. It's called The Mists of Avalon, which you can't find the movie to save your life. You cannot find it. I don't know why, because it's an incredible movie. It's based on Morgana and her point of view of how she became pregnant with King Arthur, her brother, her half-brother. Let me get you the title of that, the writer of this book, because this woman was a fucking incredible writer. And it's called The Mists of Avalon. As a book, as a fictional book, it is available on Audible. Hang on, let me look it up. But what I do know is literally it was published when right before she died. The name of the writer was called, and she's got an incredible series of books on high priestesses and so forth. Her name was Marion, Marion Zimmer, Zimmer, Bradley, like Bradley. And I believe she died. She was born, oh my God, I can't fucking believe it. She was born June 3rd, 1930 in Albany, New York, which is where my twin was born. I can't fucking believe it. And she died September 25th, 1999 in Berkeley. And if I remember the story correctly, I believe The Mists of Avalon was released right before she died. Holy shit. So in terms of fictions, I'm going to say she's calling them fictions, but the way she writes, they feel more like downloads. I'm just, again, this is my opinion. Do what you will with that information. But to me, it feels like, right? Does anybody know who I'm talking about? Mists of Avalon? So she's got a lot of books on ancient high priestesses and these particular timelines. Let me tell you more. Here, let's do the numerology on her just for the hell of it, because this is interesting. I hope you're interested in this, because I am. So she was born June 3rd, so she was a Gemini, right? So 6 plus 3. And she was born in 1930, right? She was born 20... Yeah, she was a volunteer. This is personally what I've seen over me doing numerology for, like, I don't know, since 1994 I've been doing numerology. So she's amazing. There's something about her. Now I know what it is. That's insane. And she was 69 years old when she passed away. What else? September 25th. So 25 is discrimination and analysis. It's also connected to the journey, right? 2 plus 5 is 7. It's connected to the planet Neptune. It's connected to all these incredible emotions. And I can't say enough about her, to be honest with you. So she's one of the writers I would totally, if I were you, I would start maybe reading, and let me know what your thoughts are on her. Okay? And let me see if I can see anything about her. Hang on, okay? I just want to see. She was a Tolkien. Yeah, of course she would be into J.R.R. Tolkien. No wonder. Yeah, she was quite something, this woman. Yeah, check her out, okay? Anyway, any other would be interesting to do numerology on her. Yeah, no, I just did. So let me tell you, 22. Yeah, let me go back. I'm sorry, I'm looking at her information. Let me do it again just to make sure. So 6 plus 3 plus 1930, right? Okay, 9. Hang on. She's got a lot of 3s here and there. Okay, so she is a 22. 22 is not an easy number. Again, I don't know why people keep thinking it's a master number. 22 and 11, they're not really master numbers, in my opinion. 9 is a master number. There's no doubt about it. 22 is symbolized by the ancient as a good man blinded by the folly of others with a knapsack on his back full of errors. So it's basically about illusions. Don't be destroyed by illusions. There's karmic obligations, spiritual failures and successes. It is connected to 4. 4 is a number of taking on karma. So again, it's coming into an incarnation and saying, I will take on this karma to be here. In other words, I will lower my vibration so I can be here to do the work. She's written a lot of books. And to me personally, it's a sign of the volunteer. And being that she was born in 1930, I could see why she would be a volunteer. If you read her work and you realize where she was born, which is Albany, New York, I can assure you, I remember going to Schenectady, which is right near Albany. It's like, I don't know, 20, 25 minutes away. Anyway, I walked into a metaphysical store. I'll never fucking forget that. And the woman, and again, take note, this is in 2017, 2018. And I walk into this metaphysical store and this woman is telling me, who owns it, that her children used to be bullied for having a mother that was a witch. So the funny thing about upstate New York is that you've got incredible magic that's happened here. You've got a lot of people who believe in, well, there's a lot of occultists here, actually, to be honest. Wiccas, a lot. But there are a lot of people in the early days of the formation of New York where there's a lot of people who believed in spirituality in the way you and I are exploring it. And probably we're exploring it from a more, imbued with more light, I think. I think people were still kind of kicking rocks with the occultism and merging ancient wisdoms with the occult. And those, to me, are two different things, two different directions, in my opinion. It doesn't mean I'm right. I'm just saying this is how I feel about it. And so it created massive fear. And so can you imagine 2017, 2018, when this woman's telling me, yeah, my kids are being bullied because they think that I'm a witch. So for her to be born in 1930 is my point, and to write the kinds of things about high priestesses and the Celtic lords and all of that, she was definitely a rebel and she was definitely a volunteer. Let's put it that way. Okay? It's interesting. Anyway, I'm going to let you go. Sending you much love on your journey. I think if you have any other questions or comments, let me know. I think, let me give you one more writer that I think is very good. Alana Fairchild is an incredible oracle creator. She also writes books, numerology books and things of that nature. And I think her books are, I personally, I think her books are okay. I'm not like enamored by her books. I'm enamored by her oracle decks, totally enamored by the wisdom that she downloads into her decks. But her book, I've bought a few of her books and I couldn't quite finish them. But I can finish Margaret Starbird's book. I'm reading it again, and I can finish certain books like Louise Hay. I've read her books like 10, 20 times because it's so approachable. The books I can't fucking stomach, I'm just going to say, is Megan Watterson's books on Mary Magdalene. Well, not books, book. And I guess I am going to not talk shit, but I'd like you to read Margaret Starbird over Megan Watterson's books on Mary Magdalene. That's what I mean to say. I'm not convinced by her, okay? I do love, hang on, I'm trying to remember the author. I can't remember him right now. There are oracle creators whose names I can't remember. One of the oracle creators who does very simple oracles, which we just did a reading on with you and me just now, is Tony Carmine Sarleno. And the deck that I was reading off is Blue Angel Oracle. And to me, oracle writers are short story writers. So in a way, you're getting short stories from them. Does that make sense? The other book that I thought was full of shit, I'm just going to be honest, is the Sophia Code. I could not stomach it for another minute. I just could not. But when you read Margaret Starbird, not only is it scholarly, but it's quite well written, actually. And she's downloading Mary of Magdalena. She's definitely downloading. And when you look at her energy, when you look at Margaret Starbird, just look her up for a minute. Let me do her. It's interesting, too, because she was born in West Point, New York in 1942, but they don't have an actual birth day, a birth month, so I can't do her numerology. But 1942, hang on for a quick second. It's 7 again. The journey. But when you look at her face, when you look at her energy, right? It's a sweet, her countenance is so loving, so sweet. And she, I think she's still alive, actually. I think. I don't know. I'm trying to look it up, but it's not very clear. It's kind of scattered. This is a woman that deserves to be rediscovered, okay? So if you want to read her books, you've got The Woman with the Alabaster Jar, which came out in 1993. No, she wrote it in 1942, is what I saw. I think I'm correct. No, that was the year she was born. Okay, so I made a mistake. On my last live, I said the book was written in 1942, so it was her birth. I hate when they do this shit in these books. When did this book come out then? I don't understand. Let me see here. It does published. Okay, it was published in 1993. Okay, so it was published in 1993. So if I were you, that's the book I would go with, honestly. And read that. She has another book, the Goddess in the Gospels, Reclaiming Sacred Union in Christianity. So that's interesting. Magdalena's Lost Legacy, published in 2003. I think this author, this writer, who is bringing up, Mary of Magdalena, should get more attention than she's getting. And she's not, and I don't know why. Yes, I do know why. Because she doesn't have the PR behind her that Megan Watterson has. Megan Watterson has a lot of PR. The way publishers publish you today, which is unlike what they publish, like for example, if Jack Koryak brought his manuscript, which was in I don't know if you guys know that, but it was on a roll of paper, like, paper towels, a big massive roll. He wrote on the road on a massive piece of long roll of paper. If today he brought that to any publishing houses in New York or the UK, On the Road would not be published today. I can guarantee it. Okay? Whereas now, what they want from an author isn't talent, it's platform. What do I mean by that? Well, they want to know how many people are following you. When you look for a publisher, you have to say, not, well, here's my manuscript. Will you read it? Do you like it? They'll ask you, how many followers do you have? And based on how many followers you have is when they'll publish your manuscript or not. And that's why you're seeing a lot of people actually self-publishing, because not only is the cut fucked up, because like you might be getting 50 cents to $1 as opposed to getting $2 to $3 if you self-publish yourself, but also you have to deal with the bullshit. However, once the publishing company decides that your platform makes it worth their while to promote you, at that point, game on. Okay? And they will promote the fuck out of you. And so Mary of Magdalena Revealed, I couldn't finish it, at all. And I'm not saying she's not a good writer at all. I'm just saying that it doesn't connect with what I'm looking for. So hopefully you guys will reconnect with her, with Margaret Starbird, and give her a chance, and go from there. All right? If you're looking to connect with the goddesses, Margaret Rigliosi, who began publishing her own work, but now is being published by a very small press, Rigliosini. Hang on. So her name is Rigoglioso, excuse me. It's kind of a complicated name, but she, again, is a scholarly author, and she is now published by a small press, but she doesn't have the platform. And why? Well, because she actually is busy creating work, not promoting. And you see, this is something that you have to understand. When you promote, it takes so much of your time. that you're not going to have a lot of time to write. And this is scholarly work. So it takes so much of your time that you're not going to have a lot of time to write. And this is scholarly work. So anyway, I hope this helps. I think that most of you are women in this group, so hopefully this will help you out. Sending you much love on your journey. I'll upload this on YouTube later today. Thanks again for being here and being you, and just have faith. Just again, this pregnant, beautiful woman is an expression of you. What are you birthing for 2025? Express your wildest desires and express them in present tense. All right? Sending you much love on your journey.